What's going on, YouTubers and my subscribers to my channel? Moperman 1978 here. Wanted to give you an update on the 1996 Jeep Cherokee Sport XJ 4.0 liter rear-wheel drive Jeep that we've got. It developed some issues again. The other day, I say the other day, it's been about a week now, but been running great, and then all of a sudden check engine light come on and it would idle up real high, and then it would idle down low and idle up high, and then idle mellow like it's supposed to be at park or in neutral or whatever, or in drive, whatever. Anyway, started having issues, and then once I went ahead and did the reset like I've told people to do, you basically go and unplug the positive cable wire from the battery, ground it out. I count to like 30, plug it back in, you go in, turn the key to the on position, don't start it, and then pull the headlights switch on to where the headlights are on. And usually I count to 10, or like this one has a buzzer that goes off while the headlights are on. And when the buzzer goes off, or you count to 10, basically it's pretty much the same amount of time. You shut the ignition and the headlight switch off, and then you wait a couple minutes, and then you turn the Jeep, fire the Jeep up, and what that does is go back through and resets to a certain degree the computer. And what that does, especially if you got to replace like the throttle positioning sensor on these Jeeps, and what it does, it'll reset, it'll idle the throttle positioning sensor. What it's doing is it's relearning, and what you want to do is just let it sit there and idle. You don't want to try to take off and drive in it and stuff. Just let it sit there and run and warm up to temperature, that sort of thing. Anyway, getting back to the troubleshooting, I've been online. I've pretty much exhausted my expertise on the Jeep, so I started checking around with people on the internet, from XJ forums and XJ groups on Facebook, and I even mentioned something to Uncle Tony in his live about it. Well, I called my buddy Ches. He used to work at O'Reilly's for many years, but he's like when it comes to electronics, he's just like awesome at diagnosing stuff. He used to have a shop until whatever happened on that end, but it wasn't his fault or nothing like that. But anyway, he's really good at diagnosing electrical issues. He was nice enough to come out of his busy day, Saturday today, and work on it. So Ches, if you're watching this, I really appreciate it. Shout out to him. He came over with this big fancy system reader, sensor reader. It ran a complete diagnostics just by plugging it in underneath the dash. It was way better than that little cheap little code reader I bought. But anyway, we get in here in the shadow, and so I can show you. While this was off, it ran a diagnostics, and then with the engine with the key to the on position, and then he had it start up and run it through. This is already warmed up. Come to find out, the temperature, because the check engine light's been on ever since. Can't get it to shut off. Well, I would do the reset, and it would idle up real high and then idle normal, and then the check engine, as soon as it idled normal, the check engine light would pop back on. I've already replaced the throttle positioning sensor twice through a warranty at AutoZone. We tested the throttle positioning sensor, nothing wrong with it. We checked the wires. Now the other day I did have, let's see here, I had to basically unwrap this wiring harness, and I'll have to get it all back together again. I don't like the fact that these I've had to individually wrap these 3 wires that coming off the throttle positioning sensor. Something about these three wires together, especially when these wires and the insulation gets old and they're together. See, like this one here on the left is the ground wire. The one in the middle, which is, it looks like it's black or some type of color with a white tracer. Or yeah, maybe dark gray with a white tracer. That is the signal wire there in the middle. And then this wire here that's all wrapped up real heavy is the actual power wire. That's orange. I don't know how your guys' Jeeps are, but so you got black, gray or brown or whatever this one is with the white tracer, and then this one's orange. I think orange with possible white tracer or purple tracer on it. I got it wrapped up, but anyway, yeah, actually it's orange with a blue tracer. Sorry about that. Correction, I look clear down here, and this where all the wires come together and run into the harness over to the firewall. Anyway, this signal wire is purple with a white tracer. And the crazy thing, this is what I hate about these newer vehicles. All these wires, they all got one ground wire that runs off all the sensors instead of having an individual ground wire, which I think should be a lot better. But anyway, this signal wire runs here, and the other day when I would move this before I had to repair it, it would randomly cut out, start anyway. There's this really long, thick rubber sleeve that it looked like somebody, the factory or somebody had put silicone on the ends to seal it up so moisture and water couldn't get in here. Anyway, when I would touch it or twist it or slightly bend it, it would cause the engine to just like split second to cut out. So this tracer wire here, the same purple and white wire, runs all the way over to the map sensor. This one here goes to the throttle positioning sensor, and then this other tracer wire, the same color, purple with a white tracer, runs to your crankshaft positioning sensor, and then it just goes down to one or two tracer wire, the same color, over here, and then into the wiring harness. Well, I went ahead and wrapped these three throttle positioning wires individually, because I remember at one time when they were touching, it almost seemed like it was causing, I could push on this a little bit and it would cause this throttle positioning sensor to act up, like make the engine cut out for like a split second. Anyway, so I cut the sleeve off, found in here there was kind of a half-assed, pardon my language, half-assed solder job from the factory, I guess, and then one of the wires was disconnected. It had frayed away from the solder, so I got back in here and soldered it properly, and I know I got to get this all wrapped up again anyway, so I know it looks like a mess, a spider's nest, a rat's nest in here anyway. But anyway, the fancy smancy version of basically a choke, this right here, the idle whatever, I forgot what they call it, it's IC something rather, I don't remember. This tested out fine. I thought this was going to be bad. It's testing out fine. The throttle positioner's testing out fine. At first we thought the map sensor was going to need to be replaced. I might end up just replacing it to be on the safe side. It's been on there for quite some time, but it seems to be checking out all right. So, but you know, if it's testing all right, maybe I should just leave it alone. You know, like if it's not broke, don't fix it, sort of thing. But this right here has been the original sensor on the Jeep since we bought it, and it's been there probably a lot longer. It might even be the one that came from the factory. This is a intake air sensor, or I can't remember the correct term for it. It's a three-letter word, but anyway, this is not running right. And then even though we replaced this earlier last year or the year before, this is the temperature sensor right here. That's got, the Jeep has two of them. It has this one. This controls the auxiliary fan, and this also sends the temperature to the computer to either help enriching the mixture, fuel mixture, when it's cold, or vice versa, or whatever. It tells the computer all kinds of stuff. Anyway, this, when the engine was at whatever temperature it was at, it was showing like 108 degrees when it wasn't even 108 degrees yet, or whatever. I forgot whatever reading it said. So this has got to be replaced, and this little sensor here's got to be replaced. And then what my buddy's going to do is, once I get that done, because it's going to be about a week worth of wait until my paycheck, either get it from these two items from Rock Auto, or see how much AutoZone wants them for. I got to replace both of these, and then he's going to come back and redo a test to make sure that maybe, not only because these two sensors were acting up at the same time, to see if maybe they're joined on the same circuit and sharing same voltage or something like that, and it's causing, because what it's doing right now is causing the throttle positioning sensor and the computer to think that it needs to idle a little bit higher than it should be. So it might be back feeding through the sensor into the computer, and because this here at idle is reading a little bit higher than it's supposed to be. So we got to replace both these sensors. Long story short, yeah, I know. And then this Jeep, I'll tell you, the other sensor is back in here. I don't know if you see it even with the light on. It's hid clear back in there. It's right behind this wiring harness. It's that little brass temperature sender unit, like on the slant sixes that goes on the top of the head. It's the same one, but it's got a one little prong that sticks up, and this little factory cable right here, wire, purple with the yellow tracer. Okay, there you go, right there in the back, that little white thing right there. It plugs in right there, but the problem is this Jeep came with dummy lights, and we don't like dummy lights because this Jeep is a very basic setup. It used to be like a forestry Jeep or some type of security Jeep, so they bought something with just the basic package in it. So we got a dummy light for the temps, a dummy light for the oil. And so what happens is when this Jeep never overheats, because I made sure we put the proper clutch fans and the fluids and all that other sort of thing in here. When I plug in that little sensor back on the back of the engine block on the head, no matter whether the engine is warm or cold, that dummy light likes to light up. So we're going to get rid of that, and then we're going to get rid of the oil light. And right here, since I might do it, oh crap, sorry guys, phone slipped out of my hand. I'll probably end up doing it right here, this panel here, and use this empty space here that's not being used for anything. No lights, no nothing. I'm going to put in a $25 aftermarket mechanical gauge for the temperature, and the oil gauge is going to go right in here on this as an upgrade, so we know exactly what oil, because we have no idea what kind of oil pressure we have. The light never comes on at idle or in drive or down the road or anything. So I mean, even though it's got 257,000 plus miles on it, it might even have rolled over a couple times. We use Lucas oil stabilizer, we use a Wix 51-51.5 filter, and we use Rotel 1540 in it. And for you folks out there that don't think that a Wix 51-51.5, basically the exact same size as a Fram PH8A. I don't know if you can see it down in there. There you go. Fits down in there. still has plenty of room even to unscrew it and take it out. You just got to come up at an angle a little bit. But other than that, there it is. It's got just the slightest little bit of piston noise, not bad. I mean, it's just barely there. So you can tell it's getting up in miles, but we baby it. We don't hot rod it. We don't do nothing, even though it's a high output 4.0 liter. But anyway, rambled on long enough. I'll keep you up to date. And this will be a part 1 on troubleshooting with the XJ, whatnot. And till next time.